Hey guys, hope you're doing amazing tonight. This video, this live, is kind of going to be about what happened this weekend. We lost power, and we lost power for a good 12 hours, I think it was. So it wasn't normal for us. And normally when we lose power here, it's usually for, I want to say, half hour. So like the 7 years I've lived here and we've lost power, I don't think we've gone more than an hour without that power being turned back on. So this Sunday, we got 18 inches, 2 feet of snow that came down, and it was heavy, heavy snow. Like it broke branches, broke trees, wires were hanging down, and the power flickered for a bit, and then it went out. And it was out for 12 hours. So I'm going to go over some of the stuff I've learned from that experience and try and impart that knowledge on you guys. So first off, Linda, great to see you. Glad you could join us. Patrick, glad you could join me as well. So yeah, we're going to kind of, we did have a ton of snow up here. We, again, getting 2 feet overnight within 24 hours was crazy. So it was a wee bit of fun. Snow plowing, snow blowing hasn't been easy. It's just been so wet and heavy, and the ground underneath already started thawing. So trying to get through that with the snow blower without picking up rocks, without chucking dirt and sand and that kind of stuff, or digging the driveway up too much, it was a little hard. So yeah, we got tons of snow. Again, first thing in the morning, the power flickered, and then it was out. And it had flickered for a bit, like I want to say half an hour. It went on and off, and we didn't think too much of it. I had jumped in the shower, and I was having the shower when the power actually went out. So I kind of finished up my shower as quick as I could because we are on a well with electric power. So with that water gets pumped into our basement into a small holding tank, and that holding tank is pressurized. So we do have a good amount of water that is stored down there. So we can continue to drink, we can continue to flush the toilets, do that sort of thing. But again, depending on how long we go, eventually we're going to run out of that water. So one of the first things we noticed is I got out of the shower as quick as I could. Bridget was having one too. So again, we used up some of that water that was in reserve. And we started making our coffee too at that point. And the coffee maker basically only went halfway. So we got the coffee and just had that. And then I poured. No, what happened with the coffee? How did we finish it? Oh, because the power came back on for a bit. And the coffee finished, and then it went back out. It was like, oh, wow, that was kind of perfect for us. So yeah, it was basically on and off for a while, but then it went out, and that was it for 12 hours. Hey, CR, good to see you. Glad you could join us. So what I learned from that, as the day went on, we realized, it's still cold. So we're starting to lose heat in the house. We have firewood on hand, and we started getting into that firewood and realized, we'd be good to go for, I want to say, maybe 3 days on average, maybe. But if we're burning the amount of wood that we need to keep the house entirely warm, it would use it up pretty quick. I think we'd be maybe 2 days, especially if we started using that firewood in other parts of the house too, because we have 3 wood stoves. And I was letting the firewood get low because we were going into spring. I didn't think we'd be running the fireplaces that much more. So I kind of let it get low. And that's one of the things I've learned, that especially going that full day, is, even if it gets warmer out, even if we're in the middle of summer or spring or fall, that sort of stuff, I should always have a good amount of firewood on hand. If it cools off during the night, we can start a fire and heat the house up, or start it up in the morning, that sort of thing. But also, if we go longer than, say, 2 or 3 days without power, then we'll want to be able to use that wood to run the fireplace, to be able to boil a kettle for coffee, be able to make some bread, put the cast iron frying pan on it and start making our supper and breakfast and that sort of thing. So I was kind of stuck in my head, like I was getting comfortable, I would say, with how reliable our power has been here. So I would say I need to start thinking that, what happens if the power is going to go out much longer. So wood is not just for heat. It is, again, for cooking, for power, for other stuff. So it's definitely one thing that I'm going to do going forward, is make sure I have a good amount of wood on hand, even in the spring, the summer, the fall. So if the power does go out, then again, we can continue to cook. We continue to boil water for coffee, that sort of stuff. Make it easy. I saw Drops came in. Good to see you. And Dave Knight, good to see you as well. Thanks for joining me. So that's number one, having the firewood on hand to be able to continue to run a stove, not only for heating the house, but also cooking, heating up water. Say if we want to take a warm bath or something, then we can heat up a bunch of water if we wanted to. So that would be a good thing to have on hand. As we went through the day, we realized that the power was not coming back on. So then we started looking at different aspects of what we were having to do that day. One of the things is, we had already started showers, so we used up some of our reserve water there. We wanted more coffee, so we used up a bit of water there. We were flushing the toilets because we know we still have reserve water. And we do have a lot of water containers downstairs in the basement. It's not drinkable at this point. It's been there for a while. But the water's still okay for what I would use for emptying toilets, filling the tub, that sort of thing. So I could probably use it in a pinch and boil it and that sort of thing. But what I realized is, again, I've gotten complacent, gotten comfortable, gotten used to the power only being on or off for half an hour, and us still being able to draw from our stored water in the water tank down in the basement. So what I realized is drinking water, I didn't have a lot of drinking water on hand, and I definitely need to stock up on some sort of drinking water on hand, whether it be some bottles or the big containers that you put on top of like the drinking fountains, or get a Berkey's or something like that. It's something where, I definitely need to have more of that stocked up. So especially later in the day when we started wanting tea, we always make, some lemon and honey and that sort of thing. So you want to boil a kettle. So we did that on the stove. We made tea. And again, it's just having that extra water on hand that we can drink without a problem. What we did is we actually went into town later in the afternoon to, check our phones, because we don't get cell service here. Usually, like, we'll have to go out to the end of the road or somewhere, and then we'll get service sometimes. So that's one of the things that we're lacking is comms, but the water. So I went into town again to check our phones and find out what's going on, see how long hydro will be out for, because they have a website where you can check it, and they keep you updated on what that's happening and the progress and stuff. So went into town to do that and picked up a case of water because we saw that the power was going to be on later that night. So we figure case of water will be fine. No problem. That'll get us through. It's one of those where I didn't want to go nuts just yet, buying tons of water. And it was just kind of our section of area that was out in town. Obviously, they had power because we filled the truck up with gas and that too. And we were able to buy the stuff. So in town, they had power. So grab the case of water. So I'm going to be stocking up on water. That's number 2. Number 1, again, firewood. Number 2, drinking water that I want to stock up on, and then be able to rotate that water so it doesn't go bad. I've got lots of water, again, for flushing the toilets or bathing with or that sort of thing, but I want some ready to go. So just jump in here. If you have any questions about the day too, just throw it all in caps so I can see it as the comments go by, guys. Just kind of trying to get off all the points in my head there. So yeah, we can melt snow, except the big thing with melting snow is it takes a ton of snow to make just a little bit of water. So so as the day went on, we realized, it's going to start getting dark. Not a problem for us. We've got flashlights all over the house. We do have backup batteries. So having light with the flashlights is not a problem. I also have my little Energizer Arc here. So it's one of the 300-watt portable units. So we could plug in small lamps, run that. We could charge computers. It has a light on it too. So we can run that flashlight, or I guess the LED light there. We can charge up for flashable flashlights. So that was okay. We do have candles all around the house. We've got matches all around the house. We do have oil lamps. So we've got 2 big oil lamps that we use too when the power goes out. And I want to say they were a quarter full. And I had recently purchased a big jug of lamp oil. So we were okay that way. But what I realized is I used up about half the jug just topping them off that day. So I'm like, okay, I didn't realize they took that much oil to kind of fill them up. So getting another couple jugs, if we're going to go, say, again, a few days without power or a week without power, again, I'd want to have a little more lamp oil on hand. We were okay. Again, we could probably go a few days, I think, with what we have, probably longer. But, it's just to have backup as well. So, yeah, so the light was not a problem. That was okay. Yeah, we have an electric stove. So in our place, we have 3 wood stoves. They're all flat tops, that sort of thing. The one in the basement is an older style one. So it produces quite a bit of heat. So there's no problem for us to cook on it with a cast iron pan to heat up the kettle for boiling water. And I've also used the Dutch oven as well on it and the other ones to make bread, to cook food, that sort of thing. So we're okay in that regard. I don't worry about not having a stove because we do have the wood stoves. It's just making sure I have enough firewood all the time. Again, even in the spring, the summer, the fall. Our plan going forward at some point will be to actually switch out our wood stoves. We want to get one of the big cook stoves, and then that will probably go upstairs or downstairs in the basement so that we do have kind of a wood-fired oven. The one that's there now we'll take out into the garage or put out in the greenhouse to be able to keep it warm in those colder weather. So yeah, and then continuing on, what I was thinking too is I've never really gone too long without the freezers not having power. So we have 2 fridges and 3 freezers with all our meat and other stuff in it. So it was kind of, I didn't want to keep checking, but I did open the freezer the one time. I checked stuff and I checked each one, and they were all okay. And that was like, I want to say 5 o'clock at night. So I was like kind of comfortable with, having those freezers without the generator going. So that wasn't an issue. But what it made me think about is, again, if I have to go a longer period of time without power going to those freezers, is I'd want a couple things. I'd want to consolidate the freezers and the fridge, put everything into as few as possible. So what happens right now is we have the one in the house that we use for grabbing almost our daily stuff, and then the 2 out in the garage, which are kind of our overflow. But the 2 in the garage aren't quite full. I'd say they're 3/4 full. And then the one in the house now is about 4/5 full kind of thing. And then we've got the 2 on the fridges, which the one's about 1/4 full, the other one's probably full. But what it made me realize is what I want to do is consolidate all that into as few fridges and as few freezers as possible. Try and keep them all as full as possible. That way, if the power does go out, it stays frozen that much longer, instead of having just a few things in there to stay cold or stay frozen. Just keep them all stocked up as much as possible. And then I wouldn't have to worry, say, in another month or so, the way we're going, we might be able to have the one empty and then basically unplug it. So if I started running a generator, I wouldn't have to worry about keeping that one going. So again, it's consolidating those fridges, and then it kind of plays on 2 points where I have 2 fridges in the house and 1 freezer in the house, and then the 2 other freezers are in the garage. So having the generator run, I don't want to run a power cord all the way to the 2 different sections. I'd want to have it in one place. So again, consolidating everything into the house, or consolidate everything out into the garage to be able to, if I'm going to run the generator, run it in one place. What was the outside temperature? We were 0 degrees, I think, -1 Celsius. So it wasn't too bad. We knew that we could stick stuff outside to stay cold if the fridge became a problem in the house. And then again, if we found that we were going longer and figured the freezers were starting to thaw, we were going to move everything out into the garage freezers, and all the cold stuff in the fridge would go outside onto the back porch. It's shaded and it's cool there. And then if I needed to, I could run the generator to run the freezers out there. Just trying to see if there were any other questions. Yep. What we usually do is we'll shut off where I am right now, which is our mudroom, my office, because there's no water lines here. But what we find is where we have the other bedrooms and all that, we could shut them up, but we keep the windows open there, and they bring in a lot of heat, and both the floors in there are like a hardwood floor. So it actually brings in quite a bit of warmth into those bedrooms. So that actually helps heat the house too for us, which is nice. So yeah, that's kind of a big learning lesson for me. A reminder, and also just a kick in the pants, not to be comfortable, not to be complacent about stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things where, again, I was thinking what I would do if either consolidate everything into the outside freezers or run the generator for a while in the garage and then bring it over and plug it into the house and do that. So I was kind of going through different processes or different scenarios in my head, which would work well. So yeah, and that's just it. Is like we didn't see any melting at all in the freezers. So I'm almost thinking that most freezers could probably go, depending on how full they are or how big they are, I'm thinking they could easily probably go 2 days before you start to see an issue. If you've really got it jam packed and all that, I'd say it go much longer. So yeah, don't open it up too much. Northern Girls Hobby, good to see you. Hope you're doing awesome. My fridge failed on me. Lucky it was January a while ago. Yeah, and that's one of the nice things that we are up north, so we can transfer stuff outside and use the outside temperature to kind of help keep things going. So another thing. So again, just to go back, review a bit here. Firewood. I need a kick in the pants to be reminded to keep firewood in the house all year long. Drinking water, have more drinking water on hand. Again, I do have other water for the toilets, for bath, for cleaning. We could boil it as well and drink it, but I'd rather have more drinking water on hand. Lamp oil, we were okay there. That wasn't an issue. I just want to have more on hand. Freezer consolidation. That's going to be like an ongoing thing where I have to continue to move things from one freezer to another, so that, say, I don't have 3 freezers that are all half full or a quarter full or something like that. I'll have to rearrange that all the time just to keep everything kind of fully stocked. And then the generator. So we do have the generator, and it will run quite a bit of stuff. It's a 10 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt generator. So it'll run quite a bit of stuff. But what I still haven't done yet since I've had it is install a hookup to the house. So what I'd like to do is be able to get one of those ones that go through the wall and then hook directly into our power supply system, so I can throw a switch and then run the fuse box to run whatever we want in the house from the generator. And then that way too, we get the power going out to the garage, so I can make sure I'm still running the freezers out there while the generator's hooked into the house. So that is on the plan for this year. Hopefully we'll try and get the generator hooked up to the house. Anyway, it wouldn't be a permanent hookup because I do use it around the farm. It's a portable one. It's not like one of those propane. It's a gas generator, and I do use it around the farm for stuff. So I'd want kind of like a temporary hookup when I do need it to hook it up to the house. One of the other things that I took out of this situation is the wood stoves are nice. If we don't need to run the wood stoves, we don't have to. For example, say the power went out in the summer and it's hot and we don't want to run the wood stove. I want to have my camping stove and propane stoves close and handy. We do have a bunch of stuff like that that I put in storage up in the garage. And, you know, it's not bad to go out and start digging around and finding stuff, but I'll need to be better organized in the garage to have stuff kind of labeled. So maybe put stuff in Rubbermaid containers or that sort of thing, where I can go out and say, oh, kind of like I do in my truck, where I've got my pack, where I've got the organized bags and what's in it is written down. Grab some Rubbermaid containers in the garage, put in cooking stuff, put in, well, I've already got the sleeping bags and that sort of stuff done, but I need to do more of that. But kind of put, you know, cooking, safety, other stuff like that, extra fuel, like have it all in different places and all labeled, so it's much easier for me to find instead of going out and start rummaging through stuff. Because if I don't want to start up the wood stove, then I can use my camp stove to boil the kettle or to cook bacon and eggs or that sort of thing. Make it much easier. Our goal is less freezers for sure. Everything takes so much time. Yeah, we're trying this year too to put more into canned goods. So what we did is, when we were in our canning rush in the fall there, whenever we had spare time, we would thaw chicken legs. And from all our meat chickens, we would take those legs and then start canning them. So we did tons of chicken noodle soup. We did vegetable soup with chicken. We did just chicken and chicken broth. We did just plain chicken so that we can pull chicken out, have the boys, they can make club sandwiches and that sort of stuff. So we tried to, instead of keeping all the chicken legs in the freezer, we tried to can as much as that. Again, using less freezer space, and then it's there preserved, so we don't have to worry about, again, the power going out or something like that. So no, and that's just it. So with the freezers outside, I wasn't as concerned with them because I knew the temperature wasn't going to get hot enough or warm enough to really do any damage out there. It was the one inside that was the concern. However, again, we've had +5 degree, +8 degree weather Celsius. So 8 degrees above freezing. So if the power had gone out at that point, then it would have been, you know, a little more concerning with the ones in the garage. Yeah, ours, I don't think I can pick it up at all, but it does have wheels on it and it's got the handle, so I can drag it around and move it around. But usually what I'll do is I keep it onto a pallet, a skid, so then I just pick that up with the tractor and I can move it around where I want to. It's a lot easier than trying to drag it with the handle through gravel or over grass or that sort of thing. And especially right now in the snow and mud, it's much easier moving it on the tractor. We've been organizing the garage also and reconstructing the shed. It's going great. Great to be organized. Yes, that's what I do need to do, is get more organized in the garage, make sure everything is ready to go. That's awesome. That's so great. We did, I think it was 330-ish we did this year. And we'll probably try and beat that next year. So Remy, good to see you. Glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I love canning now and trying to do more and more of it. As we build up our inventory of jars, it makes a huge difference. And next year, again, we're going to try and look at canning more of the chicken, more of our meat, that sort of thing, to be able to take some of that pressure off having the freezers. Cuts down on the electricity bill too a bit. Yeah, that's always nice to have a root cellar. I want to. I keep talking to a buddy of mine, and he's got this amazing root cellar outside. It's concrete floor and concrete and big oak door that they carved on it. So I'm trying to get with him to get our timing right, and then get over and do a little tour of that root cellar for you guys. It'll be epic. Right now, what we do is we've got a room down in the corner of the basement. It doesn't have any heat going to it. And then we just shut the door, and that stays really cold because it's up against the outside brick wall. Yeah, 3 generator solar ones with the wheels. Keep them in the house. One room is for them. Nice. I've been checking out those solar generators. I haven't really looked into it too much, but it's interesting. I need to check that out more. So I know this one here, my little power supply, that can be charged with the solar, which is nice. So it takes to get a bit getting used to it. So yeah, that's again kind of my lessons learned. 6 of them in total from that day. Again, having firewood on hand all the time. We did have enough wood to get us through that power outage, but again, I'd love to have more. Just be able to continue to keep all the wood stoves going if I needed to at any time, if it's spring, summer, fall, winter. If we get into an evening or something where it cools off, we want to cook or boil water. So firewood on hand all the time. More drinking water on hand. Again, like I said, we've got other water on hand that will do the toilets or bath, but I want to have more drinking water stored away. More lamp oil stored away. We had enough, not a problem. Freezer consolidation. That's an ongoing task to keep everything into one, or stocked up as much as possible for each of them. Get the generator, get it hooked up to the house, so then I don't have to worry about extension cords or anything like that. I can just plug the generator straight into the house and switch off the main power coming in from the road, and then just use the fuse boxes to direct the power around the house that I want to power. And then the camping stove and my other stoves I want to have on hand, be able to find them a little quicker, just in case I don't want to run the wood stove, but I still want to make some breakfast or make some tea or coffee or that sort of thing. Yeah, we've got kind of like a storage area, and I think we can take, I think it's eight full bush cords. That bush cords are full cords. It's like the full cords. It's 8 of them that we can put down there inside the house, kind of thing. So that's really nice to have, but it's just I got to make sure I actually stock up. Can you log ST? What do you mean, Patrick? Can I log your place? Can I log here? Can I cut firewood? Or if that's what you're asking, not really, because almost everything here is pine. So I don't want to burn that. Water storage is an easy one. It is. We've got big blue jugs, and that stores the water we have for, again, filling up the toilets if we need to, flushing the toilets, bathing if we want to. If we need to, we can, boil it and drink it. So that works out really nice. And they're not too big so that we can't carry them anywhere. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to be able to use. I'm not too worried about having an automatic. I'm good with manual, but because I'd have to hook up the generator anyway. The generator won't always be there, won't always be running. I'm not sure if an automatic transfer switch would work in that kind of situation, or whether you need the generator to be, automatically on and off as well. It's interesting you say that, because this might lose me some subscribers, might have some people up in arms, but I find it funny that, there's so many of us that can. There's so many of us that can because of things happening around the world. We've gotten into it. I want to say there's so many of us preppers that are like, you got to can, we got to steer stuff away. Don't trust the government. Don't trust corporations. Don't do that. Like, we're so not trusting of government and corporations and that sort of stuff. But then as soon as it comes to pressure canning, everyone's like, you have to follow the government guidelines. You have to do it the way the government says. I'm like, wait, what happened there? Like, I get it. Yes, they've probably tested the recipes and they've done stuff, and they put out what their safe things are. But it's so funny to me to have so many people that I listen to and hear, and they're like, we can't trust the government, we can't trust corporations, but when it comes to canning, we have to trust the government. They know what's right for us. So, but then when I look at it too, if you look at how many people have died from botulism, it's actually not that many. For the millions of us that can, I think there's maybe only a couple incidents a year. And what, if I remember correctly, a lot of those are like infant botulism. So whether they are eating bad canned commercial baby food or something else, it's very rare that it's someone eating their own canned goods. I think there was one incident where it was like a family of 5 or 6 or something that they went ahead and ate something that they shouldn't have. But trying to find cases of people dying of botulism it's extremely rare. Like, you're more likely to be killed by a moose or a shark or something like that, if I remember correctly from what I was looking at. So you can unfollow me or unsubscribe or just say I'm wrong or whatever, but that was kind of my opinion on that whole situation. So cut trees, yes. No, like I said, everything's pine here, so trying to get any good firewood off the property is not going to work. However, we do have a place very close to us that makes charcoal. They do that nonstop all the time, and they actually sell firewood that is kiln dried. So we go over, we'll pick up a bunch and throw it in the basement, and we don't have to worry about chopping it or drying it or anything like that. It makes it very easy. And for the amount of time we have in our life too, and I'm getting older too, so chopping and all that sort of stuff is not as appealing to me. So that kind of makes it very easy. Just go over, we'll pay for it and put it away. Yes, very true. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny because here in Quebec, there are so many people that oven can. And when I first got into canning, again, I was looking at researching it and watching it and reading all the books and how it should be done and all that. And then, almost everyone I talk to here, my sister-in-law, people at work, my coworkers, friends that I've met here, almost every single one of them oven cans. And they've been doing that since they remember. So it's very interesting that way. Yeah, so that was kind of my story about losing the power and what I learned from that. So I think that's it. I don't think I'm going to go the full hour. We're at 41 minutes right now. And I've had a rough week. I want to take some time for myself. I haven't done that. I got some news, a phone call last night. And so I want to take some time for myself for that. I want to spend some time with Bridget as well. We haven't had much time together. We've been busy with stuff. So I think I'm going to call it a night. I hopefully you guys got some insight into this, some knowledge from it. I hope it gave you a kick in the butt as well to say, hey, there's some things that, we got to start working towards. Again, with the video that I made the other day about last chance, are you prepared and all that, don't get carried away with it. Just continue to build. But a reminder that there are some things that you can look at. So don't freak out. The sky's not falling yet. At least I hope not. But, keep working away at getting prepared. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thanks again for the comments. Make sure you hit that like button as well. It definitely helps out quite a bit. So guys, with that, thank you. Good night. We'll see you soon.